Hi, welcome to the latest lockdown video. So I've had a few people talking to me about, while they're in this lockdown period, that they're really feeling anxious, that they feel these big waves of just insecurity coming over them, and really sort of struggling with this feeling that's in there. So I thought maybe I could give a couple of bits of advice, maybe, or just a little hint or a tip that might maybe help. So firstly, I want to sort of talk about something called earthing. So if you can imagine that your body is basically a whole set of electrical impulses that are bouncing around all the time, that say, there has to be an electrical impulse every time you blink. So basically, where this frequency, we all vibrate at a particular frequency, which manifests me and vice versa. So if you can imagine, then that frequency is the same as basically a radio frequency that you listen to, sort of Manx radio or whatever radio station it is that you listen to. And you're listening away to that radio, and but it's got this sort of thing happening in it, and you kind of listen. You can hear the radio is there, you can hear everything that's on it, but there's this white noise that's going on. What that means is that the radio isn't earthed out, it isn't grounded out. So if you take a hold of the aerial, for instance, normally that radio station comes back into its normal frequency and you can listen to it okay, because you are now the conduit that is now grounding that energy out into the earth, and therefore it happens when you let go, you're no longer grounded. So the station goes, and then you have to move the radio around or whatever it is that you do. So if you take that into consideration, now if you don't want to get an electric shock when you're dealing with electrical appliances and things, you wear rubber gloves, and this puts an insulation in between you and the electrical current, which therefore means it can't earth out through you and clear itself. So I now want to talk about, so what happens is that basically that creates like a white noise in your electrical system. So I want to talk about one of the greatest inventions that man ever made, and also one of the worst that man ever made as well, and that is the old training shoe, or any shoe for that matter these days, but especially training shoes. Other training shoes are available, but this here on the bottom is basically a big rubber insulator between your electrical system and being able to earth that white noise out, that noise that you hear on a radio frequency, which is happening inside you. Them rubber soles are actually preventing you from earthing out. So you might find, especially if you're at home, which we all are at this period, is that maybe your kids are going mad and you just feel like, just not centered all the time, it's just, but bear in mind that you have all sorts of like microwaves going through your home, your Wi-Fi, your broadband, your telephones. All of these things are things that are interfering with your own frequency, if you like. But so in order to do that, we need to sort of ground ourselves out, earth ourselves out. So a really simple way of doing that is, if you have a garden, go out into the garden, take your shoes and socks off, and just sit and put your feet onto the floor. I mean, this can be, you can do it, go to the beach, go to the park, if you have a garden yourself. Just all you need basically is earth. You just need earth that's on the ground, not in a pot or on a just the ground. Take your shoes and socks off. Get your kids out there. Get your kids to take their shoes and socks off. The amount of people who go out into the garden have these lovely gardens, and they go out there in flip-flops or sandals or training shoes or whatever it is, and you're never actually getting to feel, you know, the earth underneath your feet, the feel of the grass on your feet. And you only have to do this for, say, 10 minutes or so, and it will ground out all of that white noise out of your own thing. It will make you feel a lot more balanced and a lot more stable. And notice how much fun your kids are suddenly having. Your kids will be running around and they'll be having loads of fun, where before they might have been bickering and arguing because they just don't get to ground out. So that's just one method. There's a lot of information about earthing yourself out and grounding out and things, and how it, you know, it can help. You can get all sorts of ailments by having this electrical system, which you are all sort of out of balance. When something as simple as just taking your shoes and socks off and sitting there for 10 or 15 minutes, you know, just earthing your feet out. So just maybe give that a try. So the second thing I'd like to do is it's okay saying, okay, but what happens when I've got that anxiety, when I'm absolutely, you know, it feels like I'm going to have a panic attack, it feels like, you know, I can't breathe, it's all of these things. So generally anxiety will go with a really short breath, you know. So when the breath gets short, we're not getting enough oxygen into the body, so the body goes into fight or flight, and then it's sort of like a bit of panic because it's wanting more, and so we get this real, it's terrifying. I mean, it's a terrifying feeling. The heart feels like it's racing, you know, you just feel completely off center with it. So the thing is like, what you don't want to do is sort of go down the rabbit hole of fear and oh my god, is you want to bring balance back into your system. You know, you want to feel a bit more secure again. Now, you know, there's some simple ways of doing this, and we'll try one now, and it's just a really simple breathing technique. You put one hand on your heart and one hand onto your tummy. These are the areas where you're going to feel panic, you know, you feel it in your stomach tightens, your heart races. So we just want to put a hand on the tummy and a hand on the chest, and maybe close your eyes and just make some nice circles. So you're just bringing, you know, love and a feeling of security into the heart space, into the tummy. And then as you do that, you just want to start to take nice, slow, deep breaths, and then slow exhalations. So you want to make them as long as you possibly can and as controlled as you possibly can. So not, you know, you want to sit down and go, so make the inhalation as long as the exhalation. And as you start to do this, just keep breathing and keep the length of the breath, and you'll feel as the breath gets a little bit deeper and a little bit longer, and the control, what it does is it starts to release the prana, the oxygen, into the system that you've been depriving yourself because of the worry and the shortness of breath. And then you'll find that you can maybe take an inhale and again inhale. One more. And then just return to the nice deep inhalations and exhalations, in and out through the nose. Just keep them nice deep breaths in and out, nice and steady, nothing forced. And again, big inhale. Nice long sigh on the exhale. Again, inhale. One last time, inhale. And then opening the eyes. So generally just after that period of time, that many breaths, you'll start to feel much calmer. The way I like to feel when I finish it is I like to open my arms as wide as I can, reach as far as I can, and just end it with giving myself a hug and sending some love back into myself. Inhale, open the arms, and exhale, swap the arms over, hug yourself nice and tight. Thank yourself for turning up every day. And release and bring the hands down to the knees. Bring the hands to the third eye, lower them to the heart space. Namaste. So, two really simple things to at least try, and these can really help stabilize the system, stabilize the mind, and bring yourself back down to an equilibrium. And remember, it's never, ever, ever as bad as you think it is. The mind will tell you all sorts of stories, and in reality, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. This is terrible what we're going through at the moment, but I say to you, in a year, you know, we'll look back at this as a memory. Do you remember when? You know? So, have faith, stay true to yourself. Remember, try the classes, do some yoga, walk, get in touch with nature. All of these things will bring you back to a centered place. So, another video coming soon. I hope that you're enjoying them. Namaste. Okay. Keep smiling. Yeah. Well, we took all the chances and danced all the dances.